Welcome to Struggles of the Spirit. I'm your host, the Reverend Leland Udell, and I'm glad that you can be with us today. We have a very special treat today, a very special treat. We have Lar Duggan, a professional musician and composer with a lot of background and experience to be here today and sitting in this chair with me, and we're going to talk with him about his music. And we hope you will be phoning in and participating, because remember, this is a two-way connection. You hear us, and we hope to hear you. This is a television program that is unlike the commercial ones that you're so used to, where you can't communicate at all with the person on the screen. Here, we want you to really participate and to talk and to respond and to ask questions and to make complimentary statements and to be a part of our hour show. So please phone in. Now, our telephone number to reach us, it'll ring in the control room, and Bill will pick it up. Would you give them the number?
The phone number is 651-0589.
651.
0589.
Okay. And Bill will answer and then connect you with us here in these chairs. We look forward to that. This is your rare opportunity to go on television, at least your voice. So please do that. Now, if you're not going to be here and you can't do that, what you can do is to, when you see the show on our taped copy, because it's not live all the time, it's only live on Wednesdays when we have showtime. The other times it's taped. But you can send us a taped message as to how you like the program, and then we can respond to that. So the taping address is on the screen. If you look down at the bottom of our TV screen, your TV screen, you'll see what the address is for taping, and then you can communicate that way with that. You can't talk because we can't hear you, but because the program is already made. But the taping part will accept an email addition. And so we'll look on our email address materials for your communication. So I hope you'll do that if you're watching this on a program when it's on the weekend or or a night when we're not here live, when we're just sending you by email our program. So we look forward to hearing from you. Lar, you obviously are a musician. When did you first get interested in music?
Oh, gosh.
You were a child?
I was a child, and yeah, we had a record player, old 78 player, and my folks liked music. We had quite a lot of records around, and so as far back as I can remember, I've been listening to music. My great-grandmother, I guess, was a pianist, and her piano was in our living room, her Steinway.
Was she a professional musician?
No, but I guess a pretty good musician.
Pretty good.
So the piano was there, and I got to fooling around with the piano, and I had an older sister who took piano lessons, and so I got interested in...
So did you get lessons yourself?
Yes, I did, finally.
So how old were you when you began getting lessons?
I took a couple of years of classical in 4th and 5th grade, and then didn't really care for classical lessons all that much, so I just worked on my own and made up things. And then when I got into high school, I was able to locate a jazz teacher, and I took a couple more years. of lessons
That's
there.
great. That's great. I'm glad you could find a teacher to your liking.
Yep, he was a very good teacher and a good friend.
Great, great. Yeah, jazz is certainly a part of our scene these days. It's not just something for a nightclub in Harlem. It's an accepted musical vehicle, I guess you would say.
Yeah, most of the work I do is in the jazz line when I'm asked to play. Most of the writing I do actually is more leans a little more in a classical vein. Lately I've been writing English country dance music.
Hey! Have people been dancing to it that you're aware of?
Yes, one dance has been written to my music, and I've danced the dance, and other people have danced the dance. And a second one has just been written, and it's being tried out now. And I'm hoping to just continue to do that. It's a sort of a fun genre. It's very beautiful music. Some of it's very old, 400 years old, some of it.
Wow, that is old. Older than I am. Huh. That's great. And so on your IRS form, do you say musician?
I do. At this point, yeah, it's sort of the main kind of work that I do.
Yeah, like you were mentioning to me when we were on the telephone the other day that you were playing, about to go and play at Lunix.
Yes, I played
Restaurant.
last night at Lunix.
Which is a restaurant I like very much.
Mm-hmm.
So you live musician there.
Yes, I often play with Ellen Powell on Thursday nights. Last night I actually played solo piano because Ellen wasn't able to make it. So that was unusual, and I hope to do that again once in a while.
I would think it would be quite different to play just by yourself without someone else to play with.
It's true, and it makes me have to think in different ways, and I have to put in a lot of sort of root notes, bass notes that I wouldn't ordinarily have to if there's a bass player. But at the same time, I get to do all this material that I know that nobody else knows. So that's a nice opportunity.
Why don't you, let's ask Bill to play a little bit of your disc number 1.
Okay, this is, track number 1 is from a group of pieces that I wrote in 1978 called the Lake Studies. I got a grant from the Council on the Arts to do this. And this is number 5, I believe.
So.
No.
Very peaceful.
Well, it was meant to be peaceful. I love being near the lake, out on the lake in my kayak. I find it very peaceful. And the overall mood of the music is fairly peaceful, I would say. It's a genre that doesn't really get a lot of attention, even though it's a legitimate one. So I like to contribute to what I think of as a genre that needs more available music.
How do people hear it again? Can they buy it?
I have put it in the store at Borders, but it's not always there. I don't always keep it stocked there. But if you were to email me at larduggan@aol.com, LARDUGGAN@aol.com, I would be happy to provide a copy to anybody. That particular piece is one of 16 pieces, which range in mood, but try to keep that overall sense of the peacefulness of the lake.
We have some electronic equipment that comes on, that's what you hear.
Mm-hmm.
That will go away again. So the music is available by contacting you.
Yes, that would be the easiest way to do it. I haven't yet. I'm hoping to make a website and have it available through the website, but right now, or I suppose I could be contacted by phone, 802-862-5831 is how to get me by phone.
I don't know how long that noise is going to go on.
It may not be coming through the microphones even, so.
Yeah. Now, Lar, do you play, you do play with other people as well. You're not just a soloist, is that right?
That's quite true, yep.
Who would you play with?
Well, just lately I've been playing, as I said, with Ellen Powell, who's a bass player. I also accompany singers. I've been accompanying a singer named Eileen Mack over in Plattsburgh and Willsboro Bay during the summertime. I've been working with a group called Po Jazz, which is jazz and poetry. There's a fellow, Tony Whedon, who teaches poetry at Johnson, who's behind this project, and we do that typically once a month or so up at Johnson. We do it at the Black Door in Montpelier. We do it at Champlain College. I also play for the English Country Dance once a month. So I play with...
Are they dancing to your music?
So far, I haven't played my music for that dance. Usually the dance instructor picks out material.
Oh, I see.
So
it's not live?
Oh, it's live. I play the music with violin player, a viola player, flute player, or some combination of those people. So those are more the live things that I do. I freelance. Sometimes the phone rings and somebody just says, do you want to do this or that? And I never know who it's going to be. Or I tend to like doing small, quieter things these days. Just two or three people. I play a lot with George Foland, who plays valve trombone.
Slide trombone?
Valve trombone. It's a different kind of trombone.
What is that like?
It's more like a big trumpet, but it's got the length of tubing that makes it have the range of
goes back and forth
of a trombone. No, you don't play it more with like trumpet valves.
Trumpet valves. Now, have you been interviewed before for your music?
I don't believe so.
This is the first?
Yeah, I would say so.
That's great. I'm privileged.
I think when this Lake Studies came out, I got interviewed by the local newspaper about that, but no, I haven't talked on radio or TV.
Well, I hope this will be the beginning.
I'd love to do some more of it.
Well, I could have you on the program again.
Great.
It's up to me. It's my program, so I can do what I want. I don't have to please a committee or a board
that's a nice position to be in.
An organization.
Yep.
I don't get paid anything, but I don't have to pay out anything either. So.
Yep. I would say that's true for my music. Probably the music I like the best is often I don't get paid to do and don't expect to get paid to do, and really enjoy the freedom that I have to take it wherever I want to go.
That's great. Well, when you make a copy of the tape or disc we've created today, you could use that as to evangelize other people to listen to your music.
I suppose I can, yes.
Sure. Have you gone to any of the other places around for music, like Aspen or?
No. I rarely leave Vermont. I really like it here, and I don't tend to travel very much.
Okay. So you're.
And I'm sort of like the plumber who doesn't like to fix his own plumbing. I don't generally go and involve myself in music when I don't have to.
You're not a salesman.
I'm not a salesman. No, I would say I'm anything but a salesman. I could improve on that.
Does anyone ever sing with your music?
With my music, not generally with the music that I write, because I don't write lyrics. But well, actually, yes, there is a woman over in Plainfield, Penny Towers Wilbur, who she and I write material and record it. I write the music part, and she makes up the words for the music, and some of that is online at broadjam.com, I think. Penny Towers Wilbur.
think people are beginning to get a picture now of what you do.
I do a lot of different things. I don't tend to like to be just a jazz player, even though I generally when I work, it's as a jazz player.
What other kind of stuff do you put out?
Well, as I said, some of it leans more classically, and
Okay.
And over the years, I've played in Motown bands and all kinds of different bands. And I like lots of different kinds of music.
That's great. The world is waiting to discover you, I think.
Well, I'm more than happy to share what I do. That's kind of one of the more satisfying parts, is being able to put it out and let people connect with it. And if they do connect with it and get some kind of satisfaction, then I feel fulfilled in my mission. Because that's usually what starts me writing music, or even playing music, is feeling a connection to something that's meaningful to me, and particularly on an emotional level rather than an intellectual level. And if I'm able to embody that in such a way that other people can be touched by it, then I feel like I've done my job.
Well, why don't we play some more of Lar? What would you suggest?
All right. This is number 2 of the same Lakes Studies suite. This was written I met a dancer and watched her dance, and this music came from that vision almost.
So, to end it. I like your stuff.
Thanks.
It's not overly serious, but it is serious.
It's, I wouldn't know how to characterize it. No, it's not meant to be overly serious. Although there's a few pieces in there that are quite dark, quite serious in that series. But generally, I try to. I think the biggest chore for me is to identify having a strong feeling that I'm going to be able to maintain over the period, for something like that, over the period of a month or so. Because that's how long it'll take me to write something like that. So I can't have just a little fantasy idea in my mind. It has to be much more substantial than that. So sometimes they're more active and cheerful, and sometimes they're not so much that way. A little slower and more contemplative. Sometimes it's hard to talk about music. I think it's in that it's its own art form. It's hard to translate it into a different language. And occasionally there's a great music critic who's able to kind of do in words something that will do justice to the music, but I think each art form has its own irreducible validity, and I actually enjoy Victor Hugo, I guess, was the person who said music expresses that which is not yet ready to be put into words, but which is not able to be kept silent. I like that definition.
Do you have other musicians you play with besides the ones you've mentioned already?
Well, over the years, I've played with, of people who are my age, just about everybody who lives up here, over the long span of time. So I've played a good deal with Bill Patton, for example, who plays bass, who now has a little band. I'm not exactly sure what he calls it. They play gypsy jazz. In fact, I did some recording with them last summer. I play some with Jenny Johnson, she's a singer, local singer.
Is he local?
Mm-hmm. Lives right across the street from me, in fact. So very local for me. Well, perhaps we should hear another one,
Right.
a little shorty.
Okay.
This one is more recent, probably 4 or 5 years old. This is, I don't really have titles for a lot of them. It's a waltz in G minor. It's very short. So why don't we run that
Let's do
one?
that.
Let's see. What? I write a lot of little waltzes for some reason, often for specific people or specific situations. And
How do people respond to hearing music written for them? That's an unusual.
yeah, I don't often tell them. The few people I have told are very I don't know exactly what the word is. It's a kind of attention that you rarely get, so they feel very good that they, if they like the music, they feel very good that they have had something to do with my making it, and that it was sort of a gift for them. I used to do that quite a lot. Write for specific people, and I also did a series of specific times. Every spring I would write a piece for spring. Yeah, I would say people are generally kind of flattered by it. I guess it's something that doesn't ordinarily happen.
I didn't hear you.
They're kind of flattered by it, I think, because it doesn't usually happen. I remember once when I was 16, I was visiting a friend, and my piano teacher, in fact, and he had a very, very good professional singer there. And I wasn't feeling very well because my cat had been run over by a car, and she came out to this little house that that was separate from the main house, where I was just sort of being quiet out there, and she came out and sang to me. And it's quite something when someone delivers a piece of music just directly to you, for you. So I guess I felt very special when that happened, and I would love it if other people felt that way when I wrote something for them. If you wanted to go into a little bit more music, we could even fade it out. There is another piece that I brought in.
Okay.
This is actually written for a friend who I went to high school with, who was a year behind me, but we were both very good friends with my piano teacher. He's become a world-famous chemist. He travels all over the place giving little lectures, and he gets to work for 20 minutes and have 3 weeks in Bali and places.
Nice. That doesn't happen to us.
No, it doesn't happen to very many people. And he's been a kind of a star ever since high school. He got full scholarship to Harvard and everything. Anyway, his name is Wes. This piece is called For Wes. And this is why don't we give it a listen and just...
All right. Let's listen to it.
It's a little longer than the other ones. That one's done.
Is that it?
Hmm?
I didn't hear you.
That one was done with synthesizers,
Ah,
all at home.
it was different.
Yeah, it's sort of a nice change for me to be able to hear different sounds and to orchestrate things.
Do you hear, when you're composing something, do you hear music in your head and then you put it on paper?
I rarely hear music in my head. I do, this piece probably I did totally, just built it in the computer. I think I do better music when I use a pencil and paper and work.
You write down the score?
Yeah. But I tend to work from, even when I play live, I tend to work from what I've just done. If I like what I've just done, I extend that. So I may fish around for quite a while before I find something that I want to work with, and then I try to extend it and keep it unified and keep it interesting.
I can see that. Listening to your music, hear it building on itself.
I'm glad that it appears to do that. It's the biggest challenge in writing pieces is to keep them unified and sort of somehow related to, that the parts are related to the whole. But I'm usually as surprised as, it's usually quite an adventure. I'm not like Mozart who heard it all ahead of time. And then
It doesn't pour out.
Well, it does pour out, but I don't hear it ahead of time. It's a surprise for me. Sometimes not often, but I can actually surprise myself by hearing, I can do what Mozart did and hear things in my head and just let them play up there, but it's not something I generally do for some reason.
There's a famous composer who wrote Finlandia,
Sibelius.
and he was very moved one time by wild swans flying overhead,
Mm-hmm.
and somehow it opened up his music for him. Did you have anything like that happening to you?
Oh, all the time. Yeah, it doesn't take, it just takes feeling moved by some real event, some connection with the world.
So that's a vehicle for your composition. Really.
Sometimes, yeah. I did a piece last spring called "The Flowering Tree" because I saw this probably a cherry.
Dogwood?
It was a dogwood or a cherry tree or something that was very much in flower and made me want to do something that kind of went. It was very effusive and just kept on going and going and going.
The musical piece you said you were inspired by a dancer.
Yes.
And I hearing the music as you play it, I can see how that would be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the nice thing about your work, Lar, is that it's not hackneyed. It's not stereotypical.
Well, I'm
unique.
pretty self-taught, so it's one of the benefits of being self-taught is that you don't learn the cliches. Although I find I am very slowly teaching myself the rudiments of composition, and those are very useful to have.
Well, do you have a musical score with no notes on it, and then you write notes on it?
Well, for the last piece we heard, there's nothing written out for that. For all the piano pieces, everything is written out for those. But sometimes I work at this just with the synthesizers, and I don't ever use a pen and paper at all.
Okay.
The computer acts as the paper and plays back for me what I have put into it.
Wow.
And I can move around, edit it freely.
Electronically, this all happens.
Yes.
Wow, it's amazing that that's possible.
It's been possible for, let's see, more than 20 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it like having a buddy to play with you or to write down your music that they do it for you?
The computer?
Yeah.
In a way, yeah, I can play music directly into the computer. And sometimes I do that. I'll sketch out something. And I kind of know how it goes because I've had it under my hands on the piano, but I don't write it down completely, or sometimes very little, 5-10% of it.
So you're not with the piano working over the keys, trying to make it play what you want to hear, and you're not doing it music that way.
Well, I can actually do it any way I want, and then switch it in the computer and have it, because it plays it back through electronic keyboard, and so if I don't like the notes I've picked, I can change them. If I want to replay a section, I can do that. If I want to,
it's amazing.
If I want to make it louder or softer, I can do that. If I want to leave out sections or repeat sections, I can do that very easily.
Lar, I hear from our comrade Bill in the control room that our time is over.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 5 minutes to sum up. Is there anything you want to say to our viewers about your music and about music in general?
Gosh.
Do you want to make a statement about
I
music?
don't.
What turns you on? What turns you off?
Well, I think I did a lot of reading before I started writing, and I discovered that all the composers that I liked uniformly said, do not work from up here, work from down here, work from the heart. So I've tried to, I found that works much better for me. I get better music. I like it when it touches other people. That's what it's for. It's a kind of communication. Unlike any other, and some people have said it's the most direct form of art because you really can't look away from it or shut the door. You'd have to walk away from it too. But it tends to be very communal. It probably has, playing music has probably given me more feeling of working within a group and having the whole group become just one entity kind of, and I think playing music can do that. Listening to music can also make that kind of connection between people. And
so we shouldn't think of a musician as being locked up in its own head, but he's relating to others.
Oh, very much so in my case, I don't think it's worth making music that doesn't fall nicely on the ear somehow. I mean, it's possible, and that is a kind of aesthetic which would be useful to express certain kinds of uncomfortable and unpleasant situations. So sometimes it's necessary to do that, but I find there's plenty of that in the world, and not enough peaceful stuff, and so I try very hard to make more peace in the world with my music. Kind of.
That's a great goal. Well, we've been talking today here with Lar Duggan, a Burlington area musician, composer, who I've had the privilege of knowing for a number of years, and it's just fun to hear your music, talk about it, and to talk about composition.
Thanks.
It really is. I'm not a musician or a composer, but music is deep within me. It's very powerful, and I enjoy hearing your music.
Thank you, and thanks so much for the opportunity to come on and share it with you.
Thank you, Lar. Lar Duggan, that's a name to remember.
Well, I usually can remember it, but...
I'm sorry?
I usually can remember it, but some days I wonder.
It's my birthday today.
Is it? Happy birthday, Lee.
You're helping me celebrate.
Ah.
So thank you.
Excellent. Happy birthday for sure.